Hello and welcome to Grey Wolf Adornments. This is Lisa. I'm so happy to have you back again on the channel. So today is my late day, so I wanted to come on here and talk to you about a few things that have been going on. So if you saw my last video, you know that I was pretty frustrated about some FMLA paperwork. So I called my benefits team, and there's only two pieces of paper that I absolutely have to have in before my surgery. The rest can wait until after the fact, so that was a load off of my mind. So when I go back for my follow-up 7 days after my surgery, then I should be good to go with all that paperwork. They're gonna fill it out and hand it back to me. So I have it in my hands and I can fax it to my benefits team and I'll know it got there. So that was a relief off of my mind. And so, you know, a little while ago, my daughter and I had this conversation because I was really in a very bad place. And so she calls it lag time, and you know, that's okay. It's probably lag time, but usually um, it's sometimes it's a spark from the universe about something totally different or something else that makes all those pieces click and come together. And that is what I wanted to talk to you about this morning. It's a change in perspective. So I hope that you will stay tuned to the channel and we will discuss that change in perspective. Okay, so thank you for staying with me. So now let's just dive into the topic at hand. And I have my notes from my blog up here so I could really kind of make sense. And so let me start by giving you a bit of a backstory. In April of this year, I had to have an emergency surgery. They found a cyst the size of a grapefruit on the tail end of my pancreas. Um, in So they went in with the intent to take out the cyst, 40% of my pancreas, and my spleen. So they did some preliminary testing while they had me in the operating room, and those test results came back okay. So my surgeon made a determination then to just drain the cyst and let me go home, you know, sew me back up and let me recover without taking the spleen or part of my pancreas out. Based on preliminary test results that showed that the cyst was benign, I could tell you that that event was extremely traumatizing. It was very difficult. It was very traumatizing. And so in June, when my gastro doctor called me to tell me that the final test results came back that the tissue was actually precancerous and that I would have to have a second surgery. I can tell you that I was pretty devastated by that news. I had pretty much a complete meltdown. It was not pretty. In the interim between then, I've had some problems getting the MRI approved. I couldn't get in to see the gastro doctor to talk about the test results until August. And so I just in September, late September, is when I finally made it to see the surgeon to talk about it. So now what they're going to do on the 20th is take out my spleen and part of my pancreas. So that's what they're doing on the 20th. It is a major surgery. It is something that's going to change my life. And I have been struggling since June to come to terms with the fact that I have to have a second surgery, a second major surgery. The financial burden of this has caused me a lot of stress, as you can imagine. I'm still in debt from the first surgery, to be honest, and then on top of that, they asked for down payments on this specific surgery, both the hospital and the doctor. And so, and the whole fact that it's life altering, it's just been something I've been struggling to come to terms with. I apologize for that. I had to take a break and check some things out. So I can tell you that the financial burden is what has caused me the most stress and anxiety over this. And I am truly blessed because my mother and my youngest son have helped me out with the deposits that both the hospital and the doctor asked for this current surgery. But it's been a combination of things that I've struggled with, because this surgery is going to be life altering, and there's no getting around it. It's going to be life altering. So when I had my first surgery, the surgeon recommended that I go on a keto diet, and to be honest, I only tried it for like 3 to 4 weeks, and then I gave up. And I gave up because I found it very difficult to feed a family of 5 on a keto diet on such a small budget, because we do have a smaller grocery budget. We have a limited finance available, and trying to feed 5 people keto was pretty difficult. So I kind of gave up. And to be honest, the thought never occurred to me to do something different. And just because my philosophy has always been make one meal and everybody eats. If they don't like what I'm making, then don't eat it. And then sometimes I just don't have the energy to cook, and I found myself, you know, eating fast food, bringing home chicken from Chicken Express, that kind of thing. And that pretty much has been my mentality. It's a shortcut mentality. I just don't want to have to deal with cooking that way. And so the closer it gets to the surgery, the more the hard truths have started to hit home. And I have had some fear and dread, because it's major surgery. They're taking a very important organ out of my body. 2 very important organs out of my body. And to be honest, I have been looking at this surgery from the perspective of everything I'm going to lose. And that breeds negativity all by itself, because if you're worried about everything that you're going to lose, you're not focused on what you're going to gain. And so my higher power intervenes every time, and it's usually the voice of my daughter that makes this happen. And she talks to me about it, and then the universe will spark something, and then all the pieces will click into place. And that's what happened this time. The moment of insight came, and And then I have to stop looking at this from the perspective of everything I'm going to lose. And I'm looking at this now from the perspective of everything that I'm going to gain. And the most important thing I'm going to gain from this surgery is a life free of cancer. I, I won't have those parts left in me that could potentially turn into cancer. And most people do not live through pancreatic cancer. That's just the truth of the thing. So if it ever turned, I would most certainly die. And so it has given me the gift of, yes, there's risk involved in any surgery, and I'm not going to lie about that, but it's given me the gift of life and a life free of cancer, and that alone is worth the risks because I'm not going to have to worry about having cancer anymore. So, and then it's apart from that, very important thing to keep in mind. Instead of mourning the loss of everything I'm not going to be able to eat, like the bread and the pasta and potatoes, it's going to be a healthier diet, really, a lot healthier diet, because we trade those carbs in for vegetables. It's going to help me lose some weight, probably lose some more weight. It's going to help me feel better physically, and it's going to help me beat the metabolic syndrome and the insulin resistance that I've lived with for a long while. I think the first surgery helped me to break that cycle to a certain extent, but my bad habits that have resurfaced is fostering a return of that. So the thing of it is, if I'm eating healthier, then I'm going to lose the weight. I'm going to feel better mentally. Um, and physically. And so I truly love vegetables. So the alternatives that are out there, I mean, I love to eat zucchini noodles. I think they're awesome. Um, I mean, it's true that real pasta is yummy too, but I like the alternatives. I like the spaghetti squash, and I like the zucchini noodles you can make with this, because I have a spiralizer. I have the tools that I need to do different, to choose different. I just need to stop looking at it as something negative and look at it as something positive that's going to change my life for the better, because it is. It is. To me, also, I also have to get out of the attitude that it's selfish and self-centered to put what I need ahead of what everybody else in the house needs. Um, Now, everybody that lives in my house is also a grown adult. If they don't like what I'm cooking that for dinner, then they are old enough to fend for themselves and cook something different if they don't like the way I've made dinner or what I've made for dinner. And because they're capable adults, they can go and get something else to eat. It's continuing to eat the high carb diet is potentially harmful to my health. So I have to stop looking at it as something I need to feel guilty over, into something that this is what I have to do to protect my own health, and be okay with making food for myself that maybe not everybody else likes. And that's a big change for me, because usually I'm just, I try to make food that everybody in the household is going to eat, and only make one meal. And I may not be able to do that. That's just being honest. So much. There's a lot of potentially good things that could come out of the surgery, and instead of looking at it with fear and anxiety, and I I just have to look at it as this is a turning point in my life. This is the time. It's when I was talking to my daughter today, I was like, it's like, they have BC and AD on the calendar, and for me, it's pre-surgery and post-surgery, and what life is going to be like post-surgery is the time when I can put all of my lessons together and build myself a better life than what I did the first 54 years. Granted, not everything about my first 54 years is bad, but my first 54 years were a big challenge. It was I have struggled. I've been lots of challenges. But there's also another important and very potent lesson from all of this, and that is regarding my finances as a whole. I mean, it's changed the way I look at being prepared. I mean, it's not enough to be a prepper. It's because you can save food and water for emergencies and all the other emergency gears like candles and stuff. But you can't neglect your financial preparedness either. And I found out the hard way, like I do with a lot of different lessons. I find things out the hard way that you've got to be prepared on all fronts for the fluidity of life, how quickly life can change. So post surgery, my plan is to follow Dave Ramsey's baby steps to get myself out of debt and to rebuild my emergency funds. And my end goal is to have at least 6 months of my salary in my savings. So the next time something like this comes around, that I am not going to have to rely on somebody else to help me pay for my hospital bills or to pay the down payment or what have you. I will have those funds available to me that I can use. Um, and it's changed my perspective on money from the fact that I have lived most of my first 54 years in a feast or famine type situation. Most of the time I have a little bitty budget, but when I do get the extra money, instead of putting it back, I have spent it on things, and that's just being honest with myself. I've spent it on everything that I didn't get to spend it on when I didn't have the money. A lot of my craft supplies came from that feast or famine mentality. That's not to say that I'm not going to make wise investments going forward. Um, to try to improve my channels and to try to offer better products and a wider variety of products. That's not to say that I'm not going to make those wise investments, because I still will do that. However, getting out of my medical debt and putting money away for the future will take priority over just carelessly spending money. It's going to take priority over everything, and then I will work on building the channel as I'm able to. But I'm still, it has just changed my perspective on my finances, where you got to, and it's another avenue where I have to take care of me first, and I haven't taken care of me very well financially, to be honest, because like I said, it's been a feast or famine type situation for a long time, and you tend to overspend when you've been in that feast or famine type mentality, instead of doing the smart way. So it's just really, this is a blessing. It's another lesson from the universe. I should know by now that the challenges that I have face are always lessons from the universe that I need to see. And because I learn things the hard way sometimes when it comes to life lessons, they're usually pretty dramatic. So that I guess I really feel like that I need to share my experiences going with this. It changes who I am as a person. It changes the dynamics of Grey Wolf because I'm its owner and I'm the primary designer, and and I have a lot I want to share with the Grey Wolf community. I have a lot. Um, I look forward to a lot of where I can start building better content and more content for the channel. It's all about making lifestyle changes and to help you feel better as well. I tend to lead by example, so but it first starts with me, and I just plan on sharing the journey with you. So I hope that you will stay with the channel, and I'm really excited about the future. And it's good to have that perspective back and not just absolutely be dreading every day. So I'm grateful that I have a daughter to plant those seeds. I'm grateful for that spark from the universe that gives me my perspective back so I can be a more positive person. And I thank you so very much for you taking the time to spend on my channel, and I hope that you will stick around for the next video, and thank you so much for watching.